Perhaps now is the most exciting time for anybody to be in the environmental sector.
South Africa has huge potential if we are able to use correctly our natural resources and the diversity of our people and their talent. We can have a remarkable future.
We're looking at being a player as part of society and to make sure that we connect people to the environment and the importance of nurturing that which in turn nurtures us.
To be able to do something that really makes a tangible difference to people and to people's lives is a dream come true for me.
We're probably the one international environmental organization that has the strongest roots at a national level, but then also this capability to engage internationally.
We have a large community of SASSI followers, and they're all very engaging. The nice thing is there's also been uptake with industry.
Through programs like SASSI and the Responsible Fisheries Alliance, we are empowering industry and consumers and the man in the street to actually feel like they can make a difference and be part of that change.
The WWF Nedbank Green Trust this year has got a portfolio of 41 million rands worth of projects, and it's been growing year on year.
Our Biodiversity in Wine initiative is really shifting the production practices to a far more sustainable manner.
Cities are really looking at how do they integrate their public transport offerings, trying to create connections across these historical divides.
The WWF Mondi Wetlands program is turning 25 this year. We've managed to achieve something incredible with their support.
We have made progress in a short space of time to bring a considerable amount of renewable energy on board.
What the government has done in terms of renewables is a real success story.
All those small little actions add up to something much bigger as an organization.
Dealing with really complex and huge environmental challenges.
In South Africa, we are probably going to be quite seriously affected by climate change in the future.
We're facing a global problem with climate change, and there's no one country that can fix it on its own.
Development is often seen as in conflict with environmental sustainability. We cannot continue with business as usual, that things absolutely have to shift.
The biggest challenge that we have is this disconnect. People take our resources for granted.
Government policies, when they get filtered down to the masses, people have never had a chance to challenge them. What we want is that behavior change. In order for us to live in this integrated, interconnected environment, we need to take care of those resources.
And everyone contributing to achieving these goals.
Finding new and innovative ways of developing a prosperous future where everybody benefits.
Communities are realizing that their ongoing livelihoods rely on healthy ecosystems.
So we have the capital there, we have the expertise there. We've just got to kind of link the two together.
To make sure that we amplify our efforts and we put our resources together for greater conservation impact.
Finding the inspiration in people to ensure that all sectors of society, all people of South Africa all work together, they all share the resources, they share in the wealth and they share in the future that this country can produce.
Conservation is not only for a certain sector of the country, it's for everyone.
There's a lot happening that we should be proud of and that we should build on.
I'm motivated by our work because I do see us making a difference.
Very ambitious, very positive, very holistic and integrated approach to trying to make the world, quite simply, a better place.
Young people are beginning to take on environmental issues in their conversation, their thinking.
We realize the power that sits in our youth in order to reframe the problems that we have been struggling to go along with.
It's inspiring to see that we are having an impact.
Every year we are growing and becoming stronger.
And I've really seen some incredible change. Yeah, we're going stronger and stronger every year.
The power is in your hands. You make the difference happen.
What role can I play? What role can you play?
We can have a remarkable future.
It's an exciting time for us at WWF.
That's the way we change the world. People of South Africa, people of the world, welcome to the WWF Living Planet Conference 2016. You are not here as spectators today, you are here as participants. This conference is not about us standing up here talking to you, but it's about you sharing and helping us with a generative dialogue to shape the future of South Africa. My name is Augustine Morkel, and I'll be your program director for the morning. First, a couple of rules, obviously. Most important one is do not switch off your phone. You'll be using that and you'll be needing it in order to tweet. we need you to participate actively using Twitter. What we do ask you to do is put it on silent so that we do not get disruptive phone calls, but that you can continue tweeting in peace. Second, we are streaming the event live. You're all streaming globally at the moment. And we're asking the audience that are watching to also participate using Twitter. The WWF organization handle is WWF South Africa. So on Twitter, you can find WWF South Africa, hashtag WWF South Africa, and the event hashtag is hashtag LPC 2016. So it's quite important that when you participate in the event, what we'd like to hear from you is your thoughts, your feelings, your insights, because it'll be streaming live over the screens. The audiences globally will be watching, whoever's participating will be watching as well, and they'll be using that and they'll be riding off that energy in order to participate further in this event. Third, if you don't know how Twitter works, this is the fun part of the event, and it's even better than Pokemon Go. So go and find somebody who knows how to use Twitter. Don't throw anything at them. Go and talk to them, have a conversation, and I'll show you exactly how it works. So please use the opportunity to learn today. Fourth, as a generative dialogue, it's quite important that we understand that in this event, do not focus on the speakers and what them as individuals. Focus on what they're saying. They've been given a very difficult task of coming up with a very clear message to give you an opportunity to see a diverse range of views about the future of the country. So rather than focus on the individuals, focus on what they're saying and work with that when you participate in the event. And finally, throughout the event, starting now, we are going to be running a Twitter poll, and the question on the Twitter poll is South Africa's future brighter than you think? So throughout the event, throughout the presentations, the audience here, as well as the audience that are watching the live streaming, are hearing what you're saying. They're going to be watching what's being fed over Twitter. They're going to be using that to answer that question, and at the end of the event, we're going to be showing the results, what comes through from the Twitter poll. So other than that, you all know where the bathroom is and all the other formalities of it, and we'll begin the program. So without further ado, I'd like to invite Mr. Graham Stevens, CEO of Sun International, and Dr. Morne du Plessis, the CEO of WWF South Africa, to get us started. So please help me to welcome and thank Mr. Stevens for the generous support and for hosting the WWF Living Planet Conference 2016 by the Maslow Sun.
Hi, and thank you. And it really is a privilege and a pleasure to be able to do something for WWF. The cause is very close to my heart personally. In fact, I've always told my own kids, you only work to fund toys and holidays. And holidays, in my case, are always out in the bush if I can get there. And the natural world very, very close to my heart. So anything I can do personally, I will always try and do. And layered on above that, and probably more importantly, my chairman, Vali Musa, is a former Minister of the Environment, and has really drilled into us at Sun International, getting into sustainable policies in a very practical and simple way. And maybe that's one of the messages I can give you from a practical point of view, which I get directly from him. We sit in our social and ethics committees. We were prone to coming up with grandiose ideas and talking probably more than we were doing. And he's got us down to measuring water, to switching into things like Vivro. You'll see the Sunglow logo on the back of Vivro. To SASSI, we're SASSI compliant. He's really said just take seriously the basics. And if you just do the basics seriously and genuinely, you can achieve a hell of a lot. We do have the grandiose aspirations of Sun City being carbon neutral at some point in the future. So we haven't let go of some big plans, but we really have focused on the simple stuff. And my thanks to him. And if I can, as I say, share a little bit of his guidance with you, it's really just take it very, very seriously and turn the lights off, count the water, cut down the consumption, basics. I'm not going to be able to share all of today with you. I just wanted to come and say hi and welcome you, and hope to see you here again next year. This is something, again, as a company we'd like to support on an ongoing basis. I hope also we have the Sandton Eco Challenge. I have my title to defend. Sun International was the winner last year. I don't think that's because we were the best in the country. We maybe didn't have enough competition. If it does take place again this year, then Morne we're looking for some stiffer opposition. So yeah, our association as a company is clear with the objectives. You guys are here to understand better and to support. And as I say, I hope to see you next year. Have a great day. Thank you.
Archbishop Thabo Makgoba, Deputy Chair of WWF Mark Reed, board members of WWF, trustees of WWF, honoured guests, every one of you in fact is an honoured guest, and last but not least, colleagues from WWF. Thank you very much for coming to this conference. You know what the theme is, and you might come here as somewhat of a cynic. Making the case for optimism is perhaps no easy thing. That's what you might be coming here with. The media are exacerbating this feeling of pessimism, perhaps. WWF recently had a survey done on the type of messaging in the media. We found that over 70% of what's reported, and certainly almost 100% of what's reported on cover front pages of media, of newspapers, front stories, are inherently negative. We know of rising inequality in the world. We know of malnutrition. We hear of water shortages, electricity crises, informal settlements, landfills that are not properly cared for, just a continual degradation of our natural resources. And so in this kind of backdrop of a cacophony of negativity, it sometimes can become a little bit difficult to be positive. The bandwidth that we have for curiosity is completely suppressed. And that's something that we certainly should seriously consider, whether that is going to get us anywhere, or whether we should get ourselves to focus on that, which are the kernels, the seeds of positivity. We would want to hope that today can bring the kind of news, the good news that there are many viable seeds that we need to germinate, that we need to plant, that we need to grow and see grow to fruition, to nurture them to their full potential. I have one slide to show here, and this is to bring the metaphor of optimism, the seeds of optimism that we sow, right into the natural world. What you see here is not just an unfocused picture of a bee flying with other bees. The bee in focus in the center does not have golden epaulets. That is a packet of pollen that it's collected from a flower. Why is this important when we talk about optimism? That bee is on its way to pollinate a flower that will turn into a seed or a fruit. And almost half of the food that we eat is the product of this pollination process. And this reminds us that we have to nurture that which is in nature in order to provide us with the food that we eat, the water that we drink, the electricity, the energy that we use. WWF as an organization is one that has two very broad strategic ambitions. The one is to ensure that the ecological integrity, that is the kind of processes that are playing themselves out as we sit here, as we speak. Every single one of those bees are flying around 400 million trips a year between flowers to pollinate them and make sure that food comes to our tables. Of course, it's not only food products, but the rest of nature is fueled by these trips done by these bees. And we need to look at the foundation, because the foundation of our natural wealth, because that is also the foundation of our human well-being. The second broad strategic focus is to ensure that social and economic practices ensure that benefits flow to people and to nature. That's where our food, water, and energy comes from. Today, our overarching message is one of pragmatic optimism. I think that's, for me, perhaps the way we should look at this. Not the false optimisms that perhaps are created in election rallies, as best exemplified perhaps in the US system, but real pragmatic optimism. This requires that we tap into the incredible potential of our youth, of young people of South Africa. Never before has South Africa had so much potential in terms of the talent of its youth. Never has our youth been better educated and better positioned to take things forward. And we need to make sure that we, if we're older people, we enhance that, we allow that to happen, and for the younger people in the audience and those who are listening elsewhere, to make sure that they step up onto the plate. Secondly, we should lobby for enabling a policy environment in which job creation, the improvement of livelihoods, acknowledge the necessity for having a resilient and sustainable natural resource base. The environment and human well-being are completely intertwined and interconnected, and that's what we've got to look after. And finally, we need to share, and that's what we're going to try and encourage today, is that we share our understanding, our knowledge, our innovations, but to continue to do that, to network and cooperate, so that we can together ultimately taste the sweet fruits of the seeds that have, and the flowers that have been pollinated by the bee on the screen. I look forward to a very productive day, and thank you all for coming.
Thank you, Mr. Stevens, and thank you, Dr. Du Plessis.